bit ago, Gearbox invited content creators and gaming journalists out to try Borderlands 4, and since then, it has been under wraps until today, where they were able to give their impressions on what they played so far. And although my small-ass channel did not get invited out to try out Borderlands 4, I've watched a lot of these previews and what people have said about the game, and to my surprise, it is overwhelmingly positive. And obviously, you have to take some of these things with a grain of salt, specifically because there is some bias that comes with obviously getting flown out by Gearbox to try out this brand new, highly anticipated game. However, it is good to know that we've heard from people that have given their impressions that they were able to say anything good or bad about their experience. I've obviously spoken about some bad in regards to Borderlands 4, specifically in regards to them locking content behind a $100 and $130 version of the game, as well as doing what other games have done in the past and not releasing either a physical or a digital edition with the $150 collector edition for the game. But besides the bad things that I've talked about in regards to the pricing models, that stuff really isn't in Gearbox's hands. What's in Gearbox's hands is how good is the game, and so far, like I said, I've been pleasantly surprised by what I've been hearing, and it seems like it could be the best Borderlands since Borderlands 2. Hopefully at that same standard that we've been wanting this franchise, and we know what this franchise could be for a while now. And they have shown confidence by moving up the release date. That is usually a good sign that this game is polished, and I think that's being reinforced by what we've been hearing from the impressions. And although Randy Pitchford, the weirdo, as always, is doing his best to piss off the fan base, specifically in regards to this game potentially being $80, Take-Two said no, they are going to make this game $70, and although content is locked behind $100 as I mentioned, I am very happy that the base game is not going to be that $80 price point that the whole industry seems to be pushing at this point. So diving into the impressions, and for a little bit of context, everybody who tried the game was able to play it for about 3 hours. And with this, they were able to explore kind of an open world grasslands area that, in my opinion, looks really awesome. Now, unfortunately, within this area, there was only a couple missions that were relatively basic they were able to play. There was a lot that they couldn't do in regards to the story and the campaign, etc., because they're trying to kind of hold this off until launch. They don't spoil anything, and this makes sense. However, one big change they are making in this regard is specifically with the writing and the dialogue. If you remember, in Borderlands 3, they had so much real world and meme-y dialogue, just little quips here and there that just got annoying. It wasn't very funny, and it didn't feel really core to what something like Borderlands 2 did. And in this game, they're making a huge effort to kind of move completely away from that. They're trying to make all of the dialogue in world specific, so it actually makes sense in the Borderlands world. They're not going to have any real world stuff or meme stuff, and if they do, hopefully it's not going to be at the same pace and consistency it was in the most recent games. One thing I still am waiting to see is more information about the big bad guy. We have not gotten anything near what Handsome Jack was, and I hope we get a good villain for this game. Now, what is this grasslands area like? Well, it's a big, expansive open world area that they've done a lot to try to make feel as alive as ever. In this game, there's going to be dynamic events that you might experience that somebody else might not experience. Or if you go through an area for a second time, you might see a dynamic event happen that you can partake in that you might not have seen the first time you went through that area, and that's really exciting to me. On top of that, there are a lot of different areas within this open world that are kind of more secretive or out to the side that you might have to use some of the new movement mechanics, which I'll get to a little bit later, to actually get to and find things like mini bosses or really good loot, etc. You're also going to have vehicles here like always that you can use to fight or traverse this big open world as well. Now, going into the movement specifically, this is where they have done a lot of changes to make this game feel a little bit more fast-paced and kind of keep up with some of the other modern FPS games that are still coming out. Things like double jumping, zip lines, gliding, dashing, grapple hooking, all of these are going to need to be used to find certain hidden areas that might again have mini bosses or extra loot. You might have to use these in certain combat encounters as mechanics for specific bosses. Or you can just use them to get around the world a lot faster with it being more open and expansive. The feedback from all of this is just, it feels really good, it feels really snappy, and these changes are being welcomed. And this same sentiment about it feeling smooth, it feeling tight and snappy and better than ever is also being echoed for the combat. And when you couple that feeling with a very good feeling grapple hook or slide or double jump, the combat is going to be fast paced and you're going to have more options than ever to tackle any different encounter. Now, on top of this, we have heard things specifically with the combat and the guns that the weapon variety so far feels really good. Something that they've done in this game, which is a change from Borderlands 3, is they're trying to make all of the legendaries in the game extremely unique and a lot more rare to get. Not something that you're going to have a billion just different legendaries after playing the game for 2 weeks. And again, it's great just to hear that the loot does feel rewarding, at least so far from what people have played. Now, moving into the guns, there are some changes here. These guns are going to be broken down by different components from different manufacturers that are going to work in some different way, some going to work against each other, etc. But what's going to be key is you building your character within your skill trees to get more powerful depending on which component you use or just speccing for a specific manufacturer's type of component. And this is going to allow for a ton of different build opportunities. The only problem here is so far people have made a couple notes that the weapon balancing does feel a little bit off. Now, this is always going to be the case where there's going to be a lot weaker and more powerful guns, especially in a looter shooter with so many different varieties of weapons like in Borderlands. But apparently this is also something that they have already worked on that just wasn't necessarily live in the version that they have played so far. So hopefully the weapon balancing is a little bit better from what people have been saying so far. Snipers specifically, people have said, are kind of dog shit right now. But I think in general, hearing this good feedback, all of this sounds extremely exciting now. A couple other things that I think is very good that they're making changes for this game specifically is they are bringing back split screen, so you'll be able to play local split screen like you did in Borderlands 2, which I've done a million times with my friends back in the day. I remember during COVID with my best buddy, we would just sit on the couch and every single day we would just grind Borderlands for hours and Black Ops Zombies for hours, and it was one of the most nostalgic times I have in my life. There's also going to be 4-player crossplay, which is great, and independent difficulty. So if somebody is struggling and the other 3 people in your party are a little bit higher in skill level, you can just drop the difficulty for that one person so all of you can enjoy the game the way you want to enjoy it. Now, granted, this is good feedback, but does this mean the game's actually going to come out and be incredible? Absolutely not. It could still be a pile of dog shit. We've seen with games like Dragon Age Veilguard that publishers invited people out and then cut up different parts of the game, put them together. They were the most exciting parts of the game, and people had the impression that that's actually what the whole game was going to be like. This could be very similar, where they cut up a 3-hour section, put a ton of development time into it, let them play it, and the rest of the game is very bare bones and nothing like this. Hopefully that is not the case, but it very well could be. But until then, there's nothing to do but wait and see more information as it comes out. I would like to hear down below from you guys. Are you excited about the game? Do a lot of these changes and does this feedback make you more excited about the game? And are you going to be buying the $100 edition or the $150, not even including physical or digital edition of the game? I would like to know down below. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe if you liked what you see here. And for my returning viewers, thank you guys for the support. As always, like the video if you like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!